Got the Maxitrak Forney. We're just going to run through the instruction details on how to steam it. We've got a bit of track set up out here. Before we start anything, we're going to run round and oil up all the mechanical parts and put some steam oil into the lubricator. So go around and oil everything up. So with normal engine oil, you need to oil all moving parts. So the bearings and the axles, crosshead, piston rods, all of the internal mechanical parts, pumps, axle boxes, anything that moves needs to be oiled. You do this with a good quality engine oil, gear oil or chain oil. If you're running a loco all day long, you need to be oiling it on a regular basis. One oil a day is not going to be good enough. This is the lubricator here. This has a very thick steam oil. The reason you put only steam oil in here is because this oil evaporates into the steam, runs down into the cylinders and oils the cylinders. It's a special oil with no additives. You can't use anything else other than steam oil. For all the other mechanical bits and moving parts, you can just use standard engine oil or gear or chain oil. Right, I think we're good to start the fire. We're going to use compressed air running through this pipe that just blows up the chimney to force draw the fire. But you have an electric fan that sits over the top of the chimney. That should work in the same way. This just makes it a bit quicker for us. So we've got water in the boiler, we've oiled everything up, oil in the mechanical lubricator. The last thing to do is to light that fire. Run through what everything does on the back of the loco. So the driver will need to know how to do this. You have your forward and reverse, which puts the locomotive in forward or reverse gear. You have your regulator, which works pretty much like the accelerator on a car. You've got a mechanical brake that turns on and off the brake on the locomotive. Whistle valve, blower valve, injector steam, blow down on your water gauge. Then down on the foot plate, you've got the two bypass valves. So that's a water valve for the injector and a bypass valve for your pump. We use charcoal soaked in paraffin to get the fire started. You can use fire starters and then you move on to coal once you've got the fire started. Put that down there. Shovel this in and we'll get it lit. Just putting charcoal in now. Charcoal lights very easily, burns very quickly. That's how you get the fire started, and then you add your coal. So now we've got pressure in the pressure gauge. It means we've got steam. Put it into forward gear. Checking the level of our water, which looks really good. Pull the regulator towards you. And off we go. When you want to put it into reverse, pull it into reverse gear, open the regulator, and we'll start to move back. Whistle. Blow down on the water. Just make sure you can keep your eye on that water level. Bubble doesn't bounce too much. Put it into forward gear again as we are. And off we go. The whole time you've got to keep your eye on this fire. Make sure the fire's not going out. Keep feeding it with coal as you need to. Keep your eye on the pressure gauge. Make sure you're not running out of too much pressure. So running the pressure down now, letting the fire just kind of mosey out. Unfortunately, because we don't have a very long run, you can't really stretch its legs. But if you want to bring the fire back up again, that's what you use the blower for. Turn the blower on, that will draw up through the chimney, and that draws your fire, gets that fire really roaring. So when you're sitting in a station doing nothing, turn that blower on, will keep your pressure up. We're going to run it down because there's not much point. I've got a little load on the back. Oh, it's gone. So you just crack the regulator for forward and reverse. And when you want to save a bit of steam, you run notch up. The bypass is for the axle pump. On the axle down here is a pump. The whole time the locomotive is moving, that pump is pumping. So you choose whether you want the water to go into the boiler or back into the tender. If you unscrew it, the water will run a circuit back into the tender. When you screw it down, that's turning that pump on, that's putting water from the tender into the boiler, but only when you're moving. You should hear it clunk, clunk, clunk.